Welcome to the Concierge Medical Marketing Podcast, the show dedicated to helping concierge medical practices grow and thrive. Hosted by Schwartz, a digital marketing expert with over 25 years of experience and a passion for improving American healthcare by helping concierge medical physicians succeed. Here's Schwartz.
Hello and welcome to the Concierge Medical Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Schwartz, and it's my pleasure to have Michael Kieffer along for our interview today. Michael is a nurse practitioner and a background in business, and he and his wife, Lainey, who is also a nurse practitioner, have an amazing business called PrimeCare VIP, and we're going to get into it today, how they built this business and what they've gone through to grow it, how they're successful with it, and where they're going with it. So it's very exciting. Michael, thank you for being with me today on the podcast.
Stephen, a pleasure. Thanks for reaching out and having to be on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right in. Please give me a history of, first of all, yourself and your wife and the story that got us to this point of where we are at PrimeCare VIP.
Okay, so both my wife and I are natives from Miami in the South Florida area. When I met her, she was just graduating NP school, and I remember her getting her first job shortly after we got married. She was working in the family medicine department of the University of Miami, and she was lucky enough to have a fabulous physician that she worked alongside with. Her collaborating physician did not micromanage her. He kind of just let her run, and she really got to learn how to do patient care on her own and became quite good at it. My background is finance and economics. My first job was to work for a trading desk on Wall Street called the Prop Trader, where I traded firm capital. We did some market making, took advantage of different marketplaces and different prices and different times and that kind of fun stuff. But it was just generating capital based off inefficiencies in the marketplace. And the funny thing happens is my wife comes home every day and I start hearing these stories about how inefficient healthcare is. And as a guy who's his whole life has just looked for inefficiencies and how to capitalize on them or bring them better and make a better market, I said, wow, there's a lot of opportunity for a better experience in healthcare. And we started chatting. She had the idea of starting a concierge practice. She doesn't have the business background that I did, so she essentially asked me for help. And that's when I went back to school and I became a nurse practitioner as fast as humanly possible. It took me about 2.5 years, nonstop in an accelerated BSN program and then straight through the MSN program. And that's it. Once I graduated, we launched January 1st of 2023. So we're relatively new. We just we're on our third year now, starting January 1st. We've had tremendous success and we can talk about the reasons why. But the idea is just to bring better quality care to more people, to really make a difference in people's lives, to live a rewarding life. You know, practitioners, clinicians, doctors today, they're burnt out. I think the highest level of suicide right now are doctors, which is a really sad statistic. But we built our company for both sides of the equation. You know, patients are upset that they're not getting the care that they need. And docs are upset that they're seeing 40 patients a day and spending 2 hours a night trying to catch up on charting. And then they've got some administrator looking over all their notes and saying, hey, how come you didn't do this? So it's just a really unique opportunity where the system, we're watching it break in real time, but we're also watching the fix in real time. So we're excited to be a part of the fix.
Very cool. Love the story and the fact that you bring the business acumen and she had the medical acumen. And then you also went back to school and became an NP. Fascinating. And now the two of you, unstoppable force, growing your business.
One of her biggest complaints was that these administrators would make decisions from on high, and then the clinicians would be stuck. And they're like, they don't have medicine and knowledge or medical background to be making these types of decisions, and they're not understanding the repercussions of some of the decisions that they're making. So she's like, if you're going to help me, you need to know what I know so that you make better decisions. And I agreed with her. I don't want to run a medical company without knowing anything about medicine.
Right. And also the fact that the two of you, I'm sure, talk about situations. Oh, this problem keeps coming up. Let's talk about how to best fix it from a medical standpoint, as well as a business finance standpoint.
Correct.
And as opposed to somebody else from higher ups in the administration telling you what you have to do, which may or may not really be a great suggestion.
Yeah. And if you think about medicine today, one of the reasons why it's failing is it's built upon the foundation of finance. It's usually a financial system first, and then we put the medicine on top and we say, okay, how do we pay for this medicine? And the fix is to reverse that. The fix is to start with the medicine first and then figure out a way financially to make it most efficient.
Love it.
So that's what we're doing.
Right. And your concierge medical practice looks a little different from a lot of other concierge medical practices because yours is on wheels and it goes to where the patients are. Tell us about your mobile concierge practice.
So we read this 2020 report. It was a census report about access to healthcare, and it kind of mentioned that there was over 100 million Americans who don't have a primary care provider. We thought, wow, that's a big number. And the report listed a lot of the reasons why. And to kind of paraphrase it, one of the main reasons was convenience. There was a location problem where their nearest provider wasn't close to them, or convenience in terms of time and accessibility, having to take off work to go see somebody. Price was another reason. So the idea of DPC and a flat membership model really solved that problem. We literally went through that report and said, if we were to build a model that checks off all of these pain points, what would it look like? And the answer was mobile primary care. We are in a society where some people have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, to take time. You might have 4 kids, to find the time to take care of everyone in the family, and to make that appointment, to sit in traffic, to sit in a waiting room. That's a friction point that we felt we could solve by, hey, you need something, we're just going to come to you, and we're going to come to you on a time that makes sense for you. And even if I'm running a little late, at least I'm running late and you're sitting on your couch, not in my waiting room. So the idea of mobile was really the convenience factor. We stress convenience and accessibility, offering same-day appointments. And that's the whole value prop with DPC or concierge, is being available for your patients.
Right. And the one question I'm sure people are asking is the range or the sphere, a circle around your home base that you're willing to drive to meet with a patient. How do you work that out as far as miles or time spent driving?
Yeah, currently we're pretty stretched, and that's because as a startup, you have to take as many patients as you can. The idea eventually is to have smaller radiuses of 3 to 5 miles where that's your home base, and you will travel very short distances. Currently, in our South Florida market, we have patients as far as Pinecrest, which is a southern suburb of Miami, and as north as Jupiter, which is a suburb of Palm Beach County. So we're in 3 counties currently. The way we do it, so our mornings are usually scheduled exams. Those are your normal physicals, annuals. It's on the schedule and you can prepare for it. And what we do is different days usually correlate to different regions of the area. And our afternoons are open for the acute care visits. So if somebody's not feeling well and we need to get to them, that's typically an afternoon visit. And we make it work. We triage. We get people on tele really quick just to, like I said, triage, get them started, figure out what's going on, and then make sure that we're seeing the most acute patients first.
Oh, that's great. What are your thoughts about how concierge and DPC practices charge per month based on the industry, based on expenses, and making sure that physicians, NPs, and whatnot make enough money to make all of this worthwhile?
Well, I know we don't have time to go through all of that because that answer for me is a 4-hour answer, but let's just kind of break down the difference between DPC and concierge. Let's start with that.
Sure.
There really is none except for one thing. A concierge doc also hits your insurance plan, right? Like that is the singular difference between DPC and concierge. Most DPC providers do provide a concierge-like experience where you can text them, you can call them, you can get a same-day appointment, right? So you've got concierge docs, at least here in South Florida, who at minimum charge $3,000 and they go up to $12,000 a year, right? And then I see the DPC side docs, and they're charging $85 a life per month. That's not even $1,000. So what is the difference? On one hand, you've got DPC making $1,000 a life per year, and then the other hand, you've got a concierge doc trying to make $3,000 or $4,000 a life. The concierge doc still has all the cumbersome encumbrances of insurance with co-pays and deductibles and having to beg the insurance company to do something for you, where you've got this side of the equation, which is none of that. It's amazing. And why is the amazing part cheaper than the crappy part? I don't understand that. And from an outside perspective coming in, I'm here to tell you that DPC practices are charging too little. And almost, I think we need to stop using the word DPC. So I'm relatively new to DPC. I've been to the Hint Summit. I've gone to DPC summits. In about 3 years, I've gone to maybe a dozen conferences. And I think there's an overall frustration in the industry that DPC hasn't taken off. And I argue, well, there's several reasons why, but one of them is the financial model doesn't work. There's a stat out there that 70% of all starting DPC docs don't make it to the end of their second year. Well, it's really hard to make it to the second year if you're charging $85 a life and you've got the overhead of a brick and mortar, you've got your insurances and all that kind of fun stuff. But beyond that, the consumer doesn't know what DPC is. And one of the first rule of sales is don't educate the consumer. Just either provide them with a feeling or show them the value prop that you offer. But, I once made a joke in the Hint Connect. I'm like, if DPC docs were smart, I think it's about 3,000 of us now, who knows what the true number is, we'd all get together and we'd all send a check-in for $300 or whatever it is, so that we would pull these monies together and do a 30-second Super Bowl commercial. Like, there's nothing being done to educate the consumer what DPC is. All the money flowing into DPC right now is on the provider side. We have very little education on the consumer side. So I've actually shifted. I'm like, well, I'm not going to take the financial burden of educating people what DPC is. And our practice, our new tagline is affordable concierge care delivered. We're a DPC practice. I don't use the word DPC anymore. My patients know what concierge is. So all I got to tell them is, like, we're concierge, but better. We're cheaper, and there's no copay. And forget about the insurance part. Like, we'll use your insurance card if you need it. If I got to send you somewhere, for the order. And I think we're confusing people. Like, let's just throw away DPC and call it concierge.
Right. Yeah, I've spoken to quite a few folks, and you're not the only one with that same feeling. We really need to have a single phrase, a single nomenclature, as you want to call it, of what is this industry called? Direct healthcare, cash pay healthcare, concierge, DPC. It looks like there's too many different names.
Right.
And I love the idea of
now we're confusing them with APC. So advanced primary care is DPC, but for companies and insurance plans. Like, that's another realm that's going to start confusing people. The difference between DPC and APC.
Right. I think, me personally, I love the name concierge because it truly evokes a feeling in the patient that they're getting treated extra special, more time, more focus, and better outcome. Right. And for the physician to feel like, hey, I'm providing a concierge level service here. I'm giving and doing something extra good above and beyond what maybe others are in the old way of doing medicine. So everybody feels good about it. And perhaps just say everybody is a concierge doctor, and we also accept insurance. Or we don't accept insurance.
That's it.
And just leave it at that.
That's it. Yeah.
I love the idea of the Super Bowl commercial. That's clever. Obviously through my company, Concierge Medical Marketing, we focus our marketing on sharing information, interviewing interesting people like yourself on a podcast, or providing free webinars with tons of free content. We just share tons of great information. And then for the practices who want to grow or transition or have their patients nurtured or whatever it might be, they can reach out to me and say, hey, Steve, can we have a strategy session on how to achieve our goals? Right. So again, with me and my business, that's what we do. What perhaps would be something I would suggest for you, and or if you want to pull together your colleagues in the industry, start making a video channel on YouTube that is all about what is concierge medicine all about. What is it? Why is it different? Why is it better? Testimonials of people who've used it and had great examples of outcomes as patients, as the practitioners, finances, all that stuff. And by sharing the same information, you're generally educating the patients about how all this does work. And there's a totally different way of doing this that they might really enjoy. What do you think?
I love that idea. It goes obviously a little deeper. So this is a 4-hour conversation. The other side of the story, though, is the common individual out there doesn't feel like they should need to spend extra money for healthcare. There is an argument that why would they see concierge as an entitlement almost, right? Like, why would I have to pay for this? I have this insurance company. I have this insurance card. Why do I have to pay for this? So it's a little more difficult because what you don't understand is your insurance doesn't pay for that, right? You've got to pay all these premiums and all these deductibles, before the insurance will pay a dollar back to you. Your ROI on insurance is almost, for 97% of people, negative. So it's more like, yes, concierge, but also no to insurance for everyday needs. So that
Exactly.
I understand the DPC part of that.
Yeah.
But if you don't help them save money on the other side, it's going to be really difficult because they're already spending $2,100 a month for a family of four to be on a Blue Cross plan, which provides them with no benefit. So that's the hard part. It's to ask them to spend more.
Right. And it's such a shame is that depending on where you live, obviously, that your premium for your family's healthcare insurance plan is the same or more than your mortgage.
Right.
It's like, come on, you need food, groceries and a roof over your head and power and air conditioning and all that. But for health insurance to be such a massive percentage of your family's take-home income is obscene. I'm definitely a big believer in having an insurance program that will cover your patient for catastrophic things, right? All of a sudden, caring for a heart transplant or something major, but, got the sniffles or whatever, you don't need insurance for that.
No, so DPC as a standalone is not a complete solution. It's not a total healthcare solution. You also need insurance for when really bad things happen to you, or a health share. It doesn't have to be insurance. If you're below the age of 45, you should probably not have insurance. If you have no pre-existing conditions, find yourself a health share. You'll save half the money. DPC plus health share has proven to work, and there's many, many companies and a lot of my competitors doing that. Above and beyond that, yes, you do need insurance. And people ask us, it's on our website, one of our faxes, well, if I'm paying this monthly membership, what do I need insurance for? And I'm like, well, if you're on the way over, to see your kids, you get into a car accident or it rolls over and you need surgery, I'm not going in there to help you. So yes, you need insurance. There's just a smarter way of doing it. When insurance first started, that's what it was. And I have a lot of these little sayings that I use when I'm trying to pitch people, but one of them is like homeowners insurance, right? So if you think about what primary care is, that's your everyday maintenance. And I'm like, okay, we pay homeowners insurance. Would you use your homeowners insurance policy to try to pay for your pool to be maintained or for your grass to be cut? Absolutely not. It's there in case a tornado, fire, or hurricane comes through. Auto insurance. Would you use your auto insurance to try to change your tires or to do the oil change? No, absolutely not. It's there in case your car gets stolen or you're in a major wreck. Life insurance. We're definitely not trying to use that. You only get to collect one way, and that's not good.
One time.
Yeah. You've got all these insurances, and the idea is to never use them unless you absolutely have to. Yet with health insurance, the first thing that people want to do is pull out their card and be like, how do I use this? And I'm like, what do you mean? No, put that back in your wallet. You do not want to use that.
I've used the health sharing programs several times in my lifetime. And I found that if you're healthy with no pre-existing conditions, then it's a little extra hassle, but for the savings, it's worth it. But, now I'm in my early 50s and a couple little things and, had 2 back surgeries now and, a couple of different things going on. And it's like the idea of a, Christian MediShare or one of these type of organizations, they'll only cover things that are not pre-existing. And if it is pre-existing, they won't cover it at all. So it's like, I'm in a tough spot now.
Yeah, that's why I said you have to be healthy. I think 45 and under, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you don't have some pre-existing conditions. Once you do have pre-existing conditions, guess what? The government, they actually are helping out. They've got the marketplace, and the marketplace is giving away lots of subsidies. And for some of our patient population, they actually do have free marketplace plans once you include the subsidy. And if you don't, a marketplace plan, from what I see, they do a range, $400 to $600 range. They're there. They're not great, but they're there.
Right.
That is an option for many.
Where do you see the concierge medical industry as a whole going over the next 5 years, 10 years?
it's only going to grow. And I say this as a nurse practitioner, so obviously I'm biased, but I look around locally, some I'd say half, or if not more than half, of the new practices popping up are NP run. And I don't know if that's because they're more risk adverse or they're just thinking, is this a way to, entrepreneurship provides them the freedom to practice medicine, where if they were in a system, there'd be a lot of rules against them. I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but I do believe that the trend of using mid-level providers is going to increase, not decrease. I know a lot of MDs and DOs listening to this are going to be very upset hearing that. But it's because of the market, and the market is willing to pay for their services. And whether you like it or not, they are willing to work for less than you. And it's just that simple. So when you're a physician, if you're demanding $250,000 of income and a nurse practitioner is only demanding $125,000 of income, the math is the math. And I say this from a finance perspective. And if somebody, and whether it's true or not, believes they can get comparable care, I'll use the word comparable, I'm not saying better or worse, but both can write you a script for a Z-Pak if you have a sinus infection, right? The system will naturally gravitate to wanting to use the $125,000 option to facilitate that need versus a $250,000 option. So it really is difficult. I understand that. We're doing something for physicians that's entirely different, and that's more value-based care, and that's talking about providing care at large scale to organizations and actually driving down costs, and that's the way that you can participate and benefit. My goal is that our physicians are all making $400,000 to $600,000. I want my NPs to be making $200,000 to $300,000. I do believe there's a model where they can be making twice as much as the marketplace and still having quality of life and enjoying what they do.
I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about that. With your specific mobile concierge business, it's you and your wife in South Florida here, several mile radius, obviously, but you want to grow your brand and your system across the country. Tell us more about your plans for growth and who you plan on serving predominantly.
So we're currently live in Orlando. We have a new nurse practitioner who joined us last year. I'm looking to hire in Jacksonville, Tampa, and Fort Myers. The idea is just to grow in 2025 all of Florida, and then we're going to expand to regional growth in 2026 and probably national growth by 27, 28. That is my goal.
Very exciting. And with your business, is the corporation paying for the mobile unit itself, and the doctors or nurse practitioners are employees of the corporation?
We have a hybrid model. So What we've talked about so far is usually the retail side of our business. The business to business side or the business side of the business is companies, by law, if you have 50 or more employees, must provide healthcare to your employees, or a healthcare option. The employees don't have to take it, but you've got to provide them with something. I see healthcare, since most Americans, 2/3 of Americans get their health insurance from their employer. The big play here is to get those employers to build plans on a DPC chassis. And that's what we're doing. So we're building our own self-funded plans. And when an employer elects to have us run their plan, so these are plans by doctors for patients, right? These are not insurance companies making the decisions. Remember, I told you we flipped this. These are physician-powered plans or provider-powered plans, if it's an MP, where you, the physician or provider, can send an order for an MRI, or send an order for Ozempic, or send an order for whatever you got to do to take care of your patient, and nobody's going to say no to you because you are part of the plan, and the plan will pay for it. That's the level of care that we're trying to bring back into medicine, and that's how we go national, and we would like to be the largest self-funded plan offering in the country.
Wonderful. And your plan is to continue only with mobile units, or do you plan on having brick and mortars in some of the more populated areas?
We're absolutely open-minded to brick and mortar. We did mobile because that was the convenience factor. What I tell people is, when we have a brick and mortar, there will still be floaters who will go do house calls. It's going to be a hybrid where you get the best of both. You're either going to be seen in brick and mortar, or you can elect for the RV or for somebody to come to your home. Under no circumstance can we not have the mobile component part. That is who we are. That is our value proposition. So it'll have to be a hybrid model.
And let's see, we talked about so many interesting things here. How, as a business, have you found the best results in getting new patients to join your membership?
Word of mouth has definitely accounted for about 91% of our business. We do social media marketing campaigns, but I would call them awareness campaigns, not conversion campaigns. We've talked about this, Stephen, but I'm looking forward to seeing a conversion campaign work. I'm really hoping it exists. But, when I think of social channels, it's really to educate and to get people to know you, because ultimately this is a relationship that you're trying to sell. You're trying to sell yourself as a solution to their healthcare needs. So if you can establish the bond and that relationship through your social channels, that's fine. But this is not like ordering a pizza or buying a baseball cap. Like, you can't just throw up a carousel ad on Facebook and think that somebody's going to click to buy and add to cart. I haven't seen that work. So it's anything you do with your digital footprint must be correlated to something also real, meaning like an event, something where you can meet somebody in person as well. So we would always choose an in-person event over an online event, but maybe to get them to that in-person event, you're running an online campaign, just as a funnel. Yeah.
Right. Have you done before like a wine and cheese, get to know the doctors, learn about the practice type of event where people literally will come to a location where you have your mobile unit parked and, like I said, wine and cheese and music and education?
Yeah. So like low hanging fruit is doing a at your local chamber, so we did, a ribbon cutting or anything like that where you can just showcase yourself. And if you're a brick and mortar, still go to your chamber and ask them to do a ribbon cutting. They will usually help you, and you can get a lot of publicity of you showing everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so the second form of our marketing, both rigs are fully wrapped. So they're these big blue buses, and if you go online, you'll see what they look like. But they're hard to miss, and they scream what we do. And just going around and doing our job, that's marketing.
Right. I'm sure you have QR codes prominently plastered on the side of them so people can scan the QR and learn about it from their own cell phone.
Yep.
Right. And
so,
obviously
a handful of people will call, like, hey, I saw you guys driving. I'm behind you. What do you guys do? So that comes too.
Sure. I would also recommend, if you're not already doing it, when people scan the QR code, takes them to a page on the website that establishes a tracking cookie on their device. And so that from then, when they're on Facebook or Instagram or CNN or Fox News or whatever different popular websites and social media channels, they'll start to see advertisements promoting your business, what I like to call reminder marketing. The idea, you went there once, let's remind you over and over again that you had some interest at some point, and through those ads, encourage them to schedule a meet and greet with your practitioners.
Love that. Yeah, that's definitely, redirecting and rebranding for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you had any success, and I am asking you a question now,
Sure.
Stephen, with geofencing?
Geofencing is a great technology, and so often the people that I talk to are a little bit creeped out about it. They don't like the idea of drawing a fence around Home Depot to show ads for Lowe's. To put it in a non-medical environment, you can absolutely do that. The results certainly vary based on the industry and the client and the business. But when it comes down to it, you want to put ads in front of eyeballs of people who are in your target avatar. We're looking for people who are, let's say age 30 and above, who live within a 10-mile radius of Boca Raton, for example, or of Lake Eola in Orlando. And with that, you can draw the geofence, show the ads to them on different platforms. And from there, by having thousands of impressions, sometimes people click. And if they click, then you can do additional ads to them through the retargeting, again, what I call reminder marketing, and offering them something of value in order to get their email address. This is what we call a lead magnet. So the idea, someone is geofenced, they click the ad, they go to your website, they get cookie pixeled so that they can be showed those ads. And then it says something like, download our free report for South Florida families on why concierge medicine is simply better for your family's health and well-being.
Right.
Wow, that sounds like a free report. Click. What do I have to do? Oh, they just want my first name and my email address. All right, I'm curious enough. Fill it in, submit. And in doing so, they give their permission for your practice to then email them other stuff, right? So you have the system like a High Level or some other marketing automation software sends them the link to download the lead magnet. And then from there, maybe the next day you send a message. Hi, Sally. Hi, Bob. Did you get a chance to open the document we sent you yesterday? Did you have any questions? I'm here for you. I'm a real person if you have any questions. And maybe a day or two later, another message gets sent. So you can automate that stuff that used to be a human would have to take their time and manually manage that, but instead have the software do it for you. And so that's just literally one flow of how this could work for your practice or for 1,000 other concierge practices around our country. Could all do those same kind of techniques. Yeah, it's exciting. Speaking of marketing and whatnot, we're almost done with our discussion here. With my business, Concierge Medical Marketing, our marketing arm of our podcast, we help concierge and DPC practices with the digital marketing that they need to help them achieve whatever their next step is. The first program that we offer, we call Transition. Let's say a physician has an existing practice with 3,000 patients and they need help transitioning to a DPC or concierge structure. We can help with the marketing to educate and assist those patients to see the value of a membership with the same doctor that they know, like, and trust. So that's Transition. The second program we offer is Growth. Let's say you have a practice with 20 or 50 patients, something like that. You need 200, 300, 400. We have the methods and techniques, some of which we've already talked about here, to grow through digital marketing. And the third is what we call Nurture. The idea there is if a practice is full, maybe they even have a waiting list, you don't want to ignore those people. You still want to email them and text them and invite them to events, meet the doctor, spend time, ask questions, different things to help people really feel appreciated, that they're part of something great. And that will, along with the awesome medical care that the provider is providing, will help them feel very good about renewing every year and continuing to make their payments. So that's all that we offer. Speaking of some of this lead magnet and whatnot, we do the same thing with our company, Concierge Medical Marketing. I've written a book called The Definitive Guide to Winning with Digital Marketing for Concierge Medical Practices. That book is available and free for download from our website. Simply go to conciergemd.marketing and scroll down the page to where there's a picture of the cover of the book. Fill in your email, hit the save button, and that will send you an email where you can download the book. Please take it with my compliments, read it. It's over 100 pages, tons of actionable content in there for the do-it-yourselfers. And if you have any questions, how do you do this or do that or make this work, please give me a call, 772-304-2420. It'll be my pleasure to speak with you one-on-one and help make sense of all that. So enough about that and what we do here.
I don't think I've gotten a copy of that book. You're going to send me one, Stephen?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Get it to you and make sure you read it and highlight it and ask me any questions you may have, because there's tons of good stuff in there. Michael, we're almost done here. Any final thoughts, comments, or anything you want to share to people who are listening to this podcast?
Sure. If you're a physician or provider of any kind considering DPC, by all means do it, but do it smartly. You have to keep your startup costs as low as possible. If that means you don't have a brick and mortar in day one, then you don't need one. I can tell you, just start treating patients, get your name out. Maybe it's something that you grow into. You want to have a game plan. You need to have some business experience. And if you don't, find a partner that does. Because once you step outside traditional medicine of the safety net of these big organizations who just cut you a paycheck and you transition over to entrepreneurship, you are automatically a de facto business person. So make sure that you're understanding what you're signing up for. And my pitch is, if you want to come work with us, I'm happy to help you with that. And like I said, I've given you the range that I'm trying to have my physicians earn. You don't have any liability if things don't go right for you, but you have all the upside that you can grow your panel base. So if you're looking to do that and kind of join our team and our mission, I'd love to speak with you.
Love it. What's the best way that people can get in touch with you?
Best way is email me. Our practice is info@primecarevip.com. You can also call or text 561-948-2020. I'm on LinkedIn very often. If you want to chit chat on there, you can. Any which way you want to reach out, go ahead.
Love it. Michael Kieffer from PrimeCare VIP. Thank you so much for being our guest on the Concierge Medical Marketing Podcast today. I really appreciate you. And folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on our next episode. And thanks for following us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for tuning in to the Concierge Medical Marketing Podcast. Please subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts, and stay connected with us on social media. To speak with Stephen Schwartz about growing your concierge medical practice, give him a call at
772-304-2420
or visit our website at conciergemd.marketing. We will see you next time.